right, and I think we got through question 9. That was about the sick hives. You guys got that one right as well. So we're almost done here, getting to the end of our 10 tips, and we have health practices. So with biosecurity, it's really good to have preventative ideas on what are you doing? What's your typical routine for inspection, for monitoring for disease? You know, every time you're doing an inspection, again, you're looking for normal, but you're also looking for abnormal. And one thing that we have to be looking for on a routine basis is Varroa. You know, and over here is our alcohol wash. So, you know, in the state, you know, Penn State guys and gals, they'll say you should be checking during the beekeeping season every month. And many of us do that are in that program up there. And yeah, every month is a lot. I would be happy if you did it 3 times a year. You know, if you're not comfortable doing it every month, if you did it spring, summer, and fall. And I think then you have data and you're going to follow it. You know, you might be surprised at how high your mite count. So if you take a mite count in spring and it's like 1 or 2, you're like, oh, my mites are great. And if you never take a mite count again, yeah, you're going to be misled, because if you take that mite count in that same hive in October, or this time of year, and you're going to get a mite count of 30, you might be really surprised, and that could be certainly occur in the same hive, because we have that exponential growth that occurs in peaks in the fall with Varroa. So monitoring on a regular basis, whether it's 3 times a year with spring, summer, and fall, whether it's every other month, you can get to every other month during the beekeeping season, or every month, that more monitoring, whatever that system is, you know, start somewhere. Nutrition, again, you need to have an idea of what you want to do for nutrition, depending on what's going on with your bees, what they need, what your demands are for them. If you're a migratory beekeeper, or if you're a honey guy, or if you're just keeping bees in the backyard for yourself, you know, what do they need for nutrition? And again, that could change depending on what goes on in that year. Like this year, it was terrible for at least where I was, for the drought, and the summer dearth lasted a lot longer than what it did last year. So we had to feed a bit more. And then finally, under health practices, I have a little note here about pests. And what I mean by pests are a variety of things that could come into your bee yard. You know, anything from mice. So, you know, a mouse guard is considered to be part of biosecurity, to keeping out hive beetles. Someone was asking about hive beetles today. You know, those can be difficult to control once they get into your yard. But I'll tell you what, one thing that I do is I try to be careful who I buy stock from. You know, if you buy stock from someone and you know that they have hive beetles, guess what? You're going to get hive beetles. And it can be difficult to, once they get into your yard, there they are for you. So you can keep them at bay as much as you can. Maybe make sure that your pollen patties, for example, they like to get into hot pollen patties, the hive beetles. You know, make sure that they're not just laying unkept in your hives. That can attract hive beetles. So again, having these kind of regular plans and consistent plans throughout your hive, things that you do all of the time, will help you keep your hives organized and keep their health organized. And then here we have the health plan, which kind of goes along with health practices. So if you have all these preventative practices, that's great. But what if you do get a hive that becomes sick? Well, you do need to have a plan of how you're going to address that. So you should know when to get help. All right, you can be like, all right, I'm seeing serious brood disease here. I don't know if it's European, maybe it's American, God forbid. And you need to know when to get help and who to call. And certainly your state inspectors. I've actually worked on a vet list, which is now completed, and it's with, I worked with the Pennsylvania Department of Agriculture, and the state veterinarians actually have a vet list that they can refer beekeepers to now. It's not as great as we wanted it to be. Unfortunately, COVID kind of put the kibosh on several different beekeeping veterinary training events that we were going to have this summer. But I still am doing a fair amount of work with veterinarians. Most of it's online now with continuing education, but the hands-on stuff has been delayed. And we'll see what happens with COVID this coming year. But we do have a list of veterinarians now in Pennsylvania that are willing to see bees. It's about 8 or so on the list. So that list is at the Department of Agriculture. And I'd be happy to share that with you guys, Ken and Charlie, if you guys are interested.